So, Roland, we talked a little bit intermittently about some of the things that Dailymotion is doing. So why don't you just start with a background on Dailymotion, give me a little bit more detail than we had a brief second.
Sure. So as we had mentioned before, Dailymotion is the second largest video site in the world. We reach 110 million unique visitors worldwide, and we're really growing in the US, and that's been a real focus for us over the last 2 years. We've gone from 132 million video views this time last year to 232 million video views, and about 20% of our audience is on mobile now. So that's been a really interesting, part of the business that's really grown for us. And on the advertising side, we're focusing on taking advantage of the programmatic buying, but then also really focusing on our direct channel and offering custom experiences for advertisers.
You guys are investing right now in studio in New York for mostly live programming, correct?
So it's going to be a combination. It's really going to feed the entire business, and so live is one of the pillars, but also branded entertainment, creating original franchises, and then supporting our creative community, which we call the motion makers, which are independent film producers that are uploading to our platform. That we want to offer services to be able to increase the quality of that content and also give them just a place where they can have creative resources.
We talk a lot about live programming being one of the sort of bastions of linear television, and it's so critical to linear TV and preventing a lot of churn from the subscriber base. Tell me about live programming and online video, and in particular, how do advertisers participate differently? What new opportunities are afforded to them?
Sure. So, one of the things that we focused on is live music. So one of the franchises that I was talking about that we launched recently here in Chicago at Shuba's Tavern was a franchise we call Detour. And basically what it is doing a live stream of a hot band in a historic venue like Shuba's Tavern. And what we're able to do is, tell the backstory and then do a live stream. So for us, live stream is also connected to on demand. Because you'll see, a surge in viewers, during the live stream, but also offering that as an on-demand experience, I think, sort of rounds out the experience and also adds an extension to the viewership.
And what new opportunities are afforded to advertisers in regards to participation, or whether it's different or just better, richer, more engaging with an audience? Like, what does live programming specifically online afford advertisers that scripted or reported doesn't?
So for us, it's like about the lead up to the event itself, and then the post, and the video on demand experience. So we try and create an immersive experience around all of that. And so, for example, for Virgin Mobile, we're going to be doing a whole lead up to the Virgin Mobile Free Fest. Well, we'll have a homepage takeover and offer a video playlist of each band on all the days to add excitement to the event itself. Then there's the event itself, and one of the extensions that we have with doing live is we're adding a social element into it, and we're having an actual person, doing video at the event and then tweeting about it. So we're really trying to create an immersive experience around it for the advertiser, and it's all branded for Virgin Mobile.
So do you find that, it's got to, I guess, for a brand to get the most out of it, it can't just sort of be a sponsorship model, right, where they hand over a bunch of assets. Do you find that their willingness to really engage the audience around their passions, what does that deliver a brand, and sort of how brands on your platform take advantage of that?
Well, I think in the example of Virgin Mobile, what we've done is that we've taken what the brand is interested in, what their brand message is, and then tailored it to where our strengths are. And so in the Shuba's Tavern example, music is a huge passion point for Virgin Mobile users, and it's something that they wanted to have this. We talk about the halo effect, and so we were able to create an experience around the specific user that they're trying to reach and their brand message.
So your partnership with Microsoft.
Yes.
We talk about that, and then in particular Xbox and what a role that plays in the offering and sort of a different way to reach an audience for an advertiser.
Sure. So we've had a partnership with Microsoft for a long time now, and we've been integrated into the Internet Explorer releases. But most recently, we've launched an application on the Xbox. And one of the exciting things about that is it's a platform that already has a built-in audience of 34 million households, as opposed to maybe some of the other over-the-top boxes that were recently launched that have to gain penetration. And so we found this as a great platform for us to, distribute all the great content that we have, including, the 5-minute content that we have, and, stuff like Fox Sports and all of the content that we've aggregated.
And what have you seen? Our audiences on that platform, are they, the Dailymotion app, is it a lean back experience? Are they interacting? Are they searching? What are you seeing sort of through an over-the-top box like Xbox? How's that different?
Well, it's interesting because, you had talked about earlier, the different experiences on the different platforms. And we definitely try to tailor the experience to each platform. And one of the things that we've seen is that it's both on a content level, like we see more long-form content on the Xbox platform or on our Samsung integrated televisions, but also in the way that you interface with the product itself, in that we'll offer more playlists, or the way that you navigate is different on the Xbox and on Samsung TVs than it is on mobile, than it is on our desktop.
So you mentioned playlists. Tell us a little bit about how you're addressing discoverability, because that's obviously a big part of driving views and audience for you.
Yeah, well, Brad had mentioned curation, which is a huge thing for us. And, certainly, search and algorithms have their place, and they can sort content, but they don't have taste. And one of the things that our editors have is great taste, and they're real experts in their specific verticals. And so we have, a great sports editor and a great music editor. And one of the things that they're able to offer people is not just discovering videos that are trending right now, but the videos that are about to trend. Yeah. And they're able to spot those trends. And so that gives our, visitors something that they can talk about at the water cooler, hopefully.
It's really interesting. I start a thematic, and you talked about enabling programmatic buying and things like that in the beginning. And then we talk about your editorial staff and the quality. It's so interesting how there seem to be these, kind of divergent forces coming together of the old and the new, right? It's good storytelling, which is what Brad mentioned. You're talking about curation and the quality of your editorial staff, and yet we're talking about making the actual activity of media buying and planning easier and automating it, right? How do you balance that? Like, it just seems very challenging in driving an audience.
I mean, it is, and it's interesting. I've been in this business for a long time, and I'm kind of old school in that, I'm used to the relationship with the buyer on a one-on-one basis, and I think that there's a real value that's added to that. I mean, the creativity that we bring with our team on a one-on-one basis with a buyer, I don't think that'll ever be replaced. But then again, when you're trying to address scale and reaching specific audiences and the fragmentation issue that you talked about earlier, programmatic buying definitely has its place. And as I had said before, it's really growing for us.
So one question to channel Dave for you, Roland, before we turn it over, because I think the programmatic, real-time, RTB, all that stuff, I think that's what we want to talk. Sounds like we want to get our teeth into. Tell me about the importance of bespoke creative, specifically when you talk about a staged event, right? Build up. If your sponsorship, whether you're buying it on an impression basis or an audience, who cares? But you have, pre-event, you have the live event, you have post-event. How important is the marketing messaging and the creative and the actual delivery from an advertiser perspective for success around the campaign?
I mean, it's huge, and it's interesting. So we're seeing that advertisers and agencies are turning more and more to us for creative services. And one great example that I think, was a really great example of this was Skype, in that they were looking to be able to demonstrate their product. And what we were able to do is leverage, our original content capabilities. We were backstage at the Craig Kilborn show with Lisa Kudrow, and we gave her an opportunity to talk to our fans through Skype, did a video of it that was original content, and it was a great intersection between, and a real sweet spot between what's great for our viewers and what's great for advertisers.
Yeah, because that's a rallying cry that exists here, is that this sort of derivative TV, just repurposing the 30-second unit, throwing it on, like the early days of Hulu, right? Which is, we still sort of see some, at least I do when I'm watching Hulu, even though I'm choosing my own ads. That we need to move beyond that. That's sort of the responsibility of the advertising and the agency community to take ownership of that.